The opponents with CC, it seems, for See You Soon, right? So much CC, so many ways to engage, so many ways to retaliate up against the aggression of Falcons apbren.
Well, this is going to be the battle of the skies once again between the Falcons apbren and the Cambodian Owls See You Soon to kick off our second day of the knockouts for the Wild for the mid-season cup. And a battle for the semi-final spot. We jump into the land of Dawn, taking a look at, of course, how things are going to get situated here in the early game, of course. I like that we mentioned it's the Wombo combo setup, you know, coming from See You Soon. Already some early action kind of testing the waters here in the mid lane, but I think that's one thing we really have to take. Whoa, actually, Bra's getting poked really far down. FCAP wants to go ahead and put the pressure on this purple.
That's the power of the Lilia in the mid lane. It's basically almost auto prio every single time. You're able to shove the wave so easily, and especially here with the help of the Minotaur. Because of that, Kyle TZ picks up a free lethal, and he'll be a bit ahead of MP when it comes to the clear. But also, Felix. That's an Impure Rage, not the normal Brave Smite we're used to seeing on Terizla.
It's funny, you know, we've seen that like a couple times now, where, and I feel like it's still debatable, but he gets enough, I feel like, sustain also just having the Festival of Blood. You know, Brave Smite, and Brave Smite is a little overkill for some, but you take the Impure Rage, that helps you kind of spam your abilities a little bit more too. You get some mana there, of course, to work around with. But I think biggest thing is also just talking about the matchup in the jungle. You know, you have this Hayabusa and MP the King, and he's been honestly probably one of the biggest contributors to See You Soon getting to this point. And he might become, you know, now going against this Julian pick like we've seen from Kyle TZ could be crucial already top lane.
Great prediction on the hatch chain. Gets Flap TZ a few resets on the Vengeance. Ra gets popped in very, very low. Force to flicker out. Boxy now shoving himself in front, forcing Few to use the Purify. Felix going for it, but now gets knocked up. Vengeance reset for Flap TZ, and Kyle will just be able to walk in to pick up first blood. See You Soon. A bit of overextension up top.
Yeah, I guess, like, you know, it was more so like they thought they were going to be able to get that kill, but the rotation decision from Falcons apbren gave him the upper hand, and then I feel like they were just like, oh man, there's way too many here than we thought. So this is also going to be an objective now taken over here for Falcons apbren pretty easily at this early point of the game.
It was a free objective, a free kill as well up top. See You Soon. This is already very uncharacteristic. Usually they have a lot of prio in the mid lane, and that's why here, if you take a look at it, maybe that's why Boxy the King actually went for the Brave Smite instead of the Concussive Blast. You know, instead of actually trying to force a 50-50, a bio matchup in the mid lane, he's like, you know what, okay, the Lilia's going to win anyways, might as well go for additional sustain for some of these skirmishes later on, but Few on the Lilia, he really has a hold on these choke points, man. Yeah,
he does. And I think part of that, going back to with Boxy, is like, you obviously want to get your implosion set up. You want to be able to get the, you know, the CC there, because you also have a, you know, this time around a Vexana, and we've seen, honestly, teams haven't been prioritizing the Vexana pickup as much, I feel like, lately. So this is also nice to see this Vexana and also the Lilia pop up. We saw this yesterday. I think you mentioned it was like a 100% win rate, right, for the Lilia right now. And so that's part of the case is for See You Soon. You know, you want Boxy to live a little bit longer, Ra hopefully too, able to get the damage, but this all brings us back to also that gold lane matchup. Man, bulletproof Marco, Super Marco.
20 KD.
20 KDA, you know, at this point. And Sol, obviously, on the carry pick, has to get time to build up here on this, you know, and you relying on the fact that, all right, I have very little range on this carry, so I'm going to be fighting against this kind of lineup from Falcons apbren, where they actually have good setup potential as well. You can already see Thunderbelt being picked up here. By the way, I'll never forget the commercials for the Thunderbelt, man. You know, it's really good commercials for the new items here.
Oh, that's the final slash from the flicker right into the chain, straight into the combo. Flap TZ picking up a double early on. That's the Falcons apbren ambush.
I thought you were going to say that's the Thunderbelt. That's that spin kick he did in the commercial.
Close enough.
But he did it with the Arla here. Again, this is showing that, yes, See You Soon has a Wombo combo composition, but Falcons apbren, they can fight back too. Look at this.
Another final slash, forcing the penalty zone out from Felix, trying to go away, and flickers out the safety, but Few is still so healthy. Pops into black shoes. Flap TZ gets rid of him with a Vengeance. Boxy trying to go for it, has the implosion, just goes onto the Minotaur as MP walks forward, goes to the Shadow Kill too, but Ogwen reads it, knocks him out with the Minuan's Fury, straight into Few's damage. 5-0 Falcons AP Bren.
Yeah, the answer to deal with this Hayabusa just seems to be the setup. Look at this once again, STC replay here. That final slash with that Thunder Belt as well from Flap. Absolutely beautiful. Here as well.
The timing.
Yeah, the timing with the Minoan Fury knocking up MP the King. He has no chance to get back. You can see, hey, Flap, he's feeling pretty good.
I love you in a different language, you know?
Every time we see one of these players do that, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I care for you.
I care for you.
You up, you know? I'm carry you, right?
Good luck next time.
Good luck next time. Yes.
Taking a look at the items here falling in place. Hunter's Strike is going to be picked up for MP the King. You know, so he's at least got that first item locked in, but he's kind of falling behind. Look at the Genius Wand already here for Kyle Teasy. And that actually works pretty well with the fact that, hey, we already saw the damage that the Lilia can do. Now you have the Genius Wand working in that coordination with the Lilia pick. Oh, then Ogwyn gets the Flask of the Oasis already. So it gets increasingly more difficult for Siasoon at this point in the game to actually penetrate through that healing. Also, look at this. Despite being labeled the hyper-aggressive, Siasoon has yet to record a first blood in MSC 2024.
That's an interesting stat, despite the fact that, you know, Siasoon have been playing with the Banes, have been playing with a lot of the aggressive heroes in the jungle, too. You would expect them to go for a little bit more of this. Engages, pickoffs, but it's all been Kyle Teasy and Flap Teasy looking for these plays up top, a knock-up into a vengeance. Felix not able to survive there.
Sorry, Felix wants to, you know, he wants to play. He's sorry, but he wants to play. He gets continuously knocked in the air here, and already Terizla, you know, 0-3. This is a very tough position to be in because of the fact that, once again, your job as the Terizla is to just set up hope.
Final slash flicker onto Ra. Now with the flicker as well, it's going to be Ogwyn catching him. Flap Teasy going to be caught in the implosion. Has Eternal Guard there, placed out by Ra, but it doesn't connect onto anyone. Boxy able to get himself back to safety, as in the bottom lane, it's just a little bit of these gold laners trying to find a better angle on each other. No kills on the board, a lot of resources burnt though.
Yeah, this is, in this situation, now the third turtle's up. I don't know, man. Siasoon, I don't know if they want to fight this. Maybe just go for this steal. But it looks like they're just going to give it up. Sorry, Felix cannot go down again here. He's already quite gapped. He's only level 7. He's about to hit level 8, but Flap's level 10 and 4-0-2.
Yikes.
Feather of Heaven going to be picked up by Kyle Teasy. At least Soul has just been, you know, farming up. He's been farming. Gold lane experience.
For sure. MP is also going to be able to pick up the Sky Piercer here in the 7th minute of the game. Boxy picks up the Radiant Armor. Definitely now understands the threat of not just the Lilia, but the Shred coming down from the Julian. It's very, very deceiving, you know, that damage. You don't expect it, and then suddenly your HP bar just gets completely demolished, deleted. Super Marco sieging down in the bottom lane with the Roger. Seems like Boxy can't even walk up. He was going to be able to dish out some damage. Ogwyn has the knockup. Good Eternal Guard with the Terrify to disengage from that skirmish. And for Siasoon, it's really all about getting the gold lane to a spot where he can actually farm, because Soul is struggling now. Yeah,
I would say, you know, looking at the items here too, for Siasoon, it's got to be, we'll see you later in this game, because they need time, man, to build up. You can see the gap between the gold lane alone is going to continue to build up here. For Siasoon, it's really just letting Soul farm up, get to the point where he can actually pop off the damage, because like you mentioned, Mirko, the Julian is enough, even with that Genius Wand combination, to come up and kind of shred these tankier heroes like this. Look at Boxy just trying to get into this bush, get some vision available, holding down the tier 1. Look at that.
He might have to flicker, you know, if this continues. Felix going to be displaced by the final slash. Straight into the damage of the Vengeance. Now as MP the King walks forward with a Quad Shadow. Not enough first. It takes Felix down. The few tries to dive under the tier 1 and tier 2, sandwiching them in their own turret. And you can see the key here. That is going to be the thing that Falcons apbren is looking for. Ra already flickering out too, just out of skill 1.
I like how they, after the team fight, you know, they're like, here, this is what you're playing for again, you know? Oh.
Shadow kill. There's no black shoes on Few, but they do still have the motivation roar. And for MP the King, he will still have that Quad Shadow to disengage. Still, this is a dominant game so far for Falcons apbren.
Yeah, very dominant. Also, great job. They actually got the tier 1 down after all that work. Hold on.
Boxy popping an implosion there with the Terrify too, but there's no Eternal Guard. Super Marco goes with the Lycan Pounce, baits out the flicker. Now no flicker on Boxy. Even when he gets that implosion, Falcons apbren, they can read it out so easily, and because of that, yeah, they're just gonna go straight to the Lord. This is Lord number 1, Falcons apbren. A perfect game so far. Not even a turret traded.
Yeah.
at all. I mean, now they do. They get a bottom lane turret, right, with the waves pushed in. But the fact that it took 9 minutes for one turret to be taken by See You Soon is concerning, Naisu.
It is. And, you know, you really have to respect the way that Falcons apbren plays the macro game. Sometimes they're not after these kills, and they know it. They can actually just get some of these spells out, like we saw them do against Boxy, where he burned the flicker, he burned the implosion. That's a green light to go take the Lord. And so now they're going to find themselves trying to defend up here on the top. They should be able to do okay, but I'm worried. I'm actually worried about their clearing potential because of the lead that Falcons apbren has. We're talking, you know, 6,000 gold ahead. When this Lord does get to the base, they might just force the issue and force a situation where See You Soon's left with their backs against the wall, kind of like, all right, well, I guess we're going to have to fight this.
There's not much they can do right now except for play tower defense in their own base, because even few can dive under the tier 2, utilizing waves that is all pushing in towards See You Soon. Just using the emotes, popping into holy defense, and now going to be attacking with another wave buildup in the mid lane too. Top lane with the Lord now. FlapTZ looking for an angle to go in as MP the King pops into Quad Shadow and the Shadow kill. And you can see the poke, the FlapTZ able to find the final slash with the Flicker. Boxy gonna get the implosion down, but the Minion's Fury catches them again. They're unable to go for the engage. Kyle goes and uses the way to crowd to escape. That's a stun on the Felix. No kill straight and like a pounce by Super Marco as he dives deep in the base turret. MP can only just Quad Shadow back and forth. And for Falcons apbren, they are flying across the skies. These base turrets stand no chance. 2 base turrets with the first Lord.
Yeah, the first Lord, and you saw how masterfully that went for Falcons apbren, the way they juggled that turret, they initiated, and even at the cost of 1 life, I mean, they're going to get the base fully exposed here.
No, MP going to be mobilized, doesn't catch him with the final slash. FlapTZ.
Couple hits away.
They're going to take it chill. They've taken 2 base turrets. That in itself is impressive.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know, looking at the items too, falling into place. Winter's Crown now here for Kyle TZ. Yes, and
that's
also
another one, Fu.
That's another one. The Flap TZ gets a 2. And, you know, with that, Boxy making a play.
Great pick, but it's only onto Flap. He can pop in the Vengeance now, and it's going to be the enhanced chain to knock him up. Another Vengeance and the final slash right into the Lycan pounce. Now another mobility onto the backside. FlapTZ with a dive again under the base turret. What are they going to do? MP gets knocked up, and the prediction right into the Quad Shadow. What are they made of? Falcons apbren dominating, stomping, and now diving on Ra, forcing him back on the base.
They're going to juggle the base?
They're going to try to do it, man, but I don't think they can go for the kill. They don't even need to. They can just go straight for the base. That is wide open. 13-1, 12 minutes.
13-1 in the first game. The juggle, the masterful macro play from Falcons apbren.
Yikes.
And that's going to further up, I think, quite a few people. But
oh, man.
We're going to have to see if there's a different factor here and maybe a reason why Sol is bringing the carry against, the Eve. There's a whole lot that can actually play against this carry, but we jump into here. Game number 2 in this best of 5. After a devastating game for See You Soon in game number 1, Falcons apbren will go ahead and just get started here. Fall into place too, we can already see, right? It is going to be a whole lot of damage coming out from Kyle TZ. And mind you, the last time he played this Hayabusa, he was like 10-1 or something like that, something insane. So he's got the Warcry emblem, and he's going to be looking to set the pace here that MP the King couldn't do in the previous game. And yeah, going back to it, it is his villain arc right now, man.
It really is, right? I mean, we all watched the video earlier. We'll talk about that later, but, you know, something that I do want to talk about maybe for the carry pick is the fact that at least with the carry pick, it's an okay matchup against the Harith. Not in a way where you actually win, because Harith is basically almost an auto-win lane as well.
Yeah.
But the carry can actually dodge away from the Synchro Fission quite easily with her skill, with her dash. So maybe that's the reason Sol wants to go for this carry pick again. It's all about surviving in lane, and this time maybe he'll have a better time up against the Harith than the previous game when he was up against the Roger, which was very, very difficult. And I'm glad that we can talk a little bit more about the competition.
You know, the Eve for yourself, the real world manipulation for yourself.
Then the Haya's like, yeah,
and you know, and then you're locked up there. So this is going to be, I feel like when you really look at this See You Soon, as we jump back into the game here for game number 2, is how can they get the pace set early on? It's funny because going back to the fact too, this is an aggressive team that has not found a first blood yet. So with this lineup, it looks like they might want to go ahead and break that record right now, but so far for Falcons apbren, They're spotting this one out.
Get up top, Felix gonna even get them damage on the Flapteezy. The deadly catch.
Got it.
Chases him down. There you go.
They got it.
For the stats, first blood. The first blood ever for See You Soon at MSC.
There we go. And
you just have to curse it.
Yeah, that works like that. So with that, they're actually going to be able to get this turtle too. So this is what I was saying, man. With the lineup they have, if they can get the momentum going early on, that's great. But also, they're spending a lot of time here. Oh,
bottom lane, that's a solo kill, Soul. That's why he picks the carry.
He picks the carry, but he goes down in the exchange.
But he just solo killed Bulletproof Marco.
Hey, that's going to affect the KDA now of Bulletproof Marco. And, you know, maybe Soul was like, hey, this is why I locked in that carry. So he gets the kill there. But at the same time, you know, Super Marco gets one himself. And you can already see here, too, holding on to that real-world manipulation over here for Raw. A lot of attention here on that bottom side for See You Soon. If they can, you know, actually at this point, I feel like they can just leave Soul to his own.
Yeah.
The only thing Soul has to watch out for is when that flicker's not available because of the fact that Super Marco can play a little more aggressive, especially with now that he has that Zaman Force and playing around that. So really good start, I would say, for See You Soon this early on.
Let Soul solo. I agree. Felix now trying to run away. The penalty zone locks him down. Kalteezy with the quad shadow 2 right into the shadow kill. The Petrify's still there, but Kyle has a few more quad shadows to use, and he will indeed utilize that to equalize on the board. It's 2-2.
Okay, taking a look at the items here. First items not locked in just yet. But I'm assuming, yeah, this is, we saw this, I believe it was Kalteezy who did this before. He got the Skypiercer first on this Hayabusa, and that's what helped him snowball quickly. So for See You Soon, if they can figure out a way to stop that from happening, you know, keep Kalteezy in his tracks. That's one of the big answers they have to have early game. They've already got good control of these objectives early on, but the thing is it's ultimately even across the board economy-wise, and those first item pickups will start to happen for each of the members here on par. Now for See You Soon, like I said, if they don't want to have an issue with the objective fighting, Kalteezy again fighting Boxy.
With all those stacks, still Primal Wrath gonna be used up by Boxy. I think he expected Falcons apbren to collapse even more, but now with a big resource burnt out, Boxy, no ultimate. He's still posturing up. He still wants some smoke. Ra walks him forward, goes for the terrifying penalty zone, lock him down straight into the quad shadow. Now is Boxy gonna be taken low. The hammer swings as Cal steals it away. The deadly catch just to disengage, but Super Marco continues this in the back line. The Furious time to catch Kalteezy with that Petrify to find a trade on the board. The Felix will be taken down as well, and Super Marco gets the double. Meanwhile, Soul up top, picking up all of the turret gold.
Hey, that's great for Soul. Again, interesting exchange there. Sorry, Felix does get a kill, but then eventually goes down himself. It's a good thing he took out Kalteezy. But this is part of the plan too. Give Soul that extra gold, but the same thing is now happening here on the bottom side. So that little advantage that they were able to get is diminished at this point. Also, with Kalteezy taking that turtle, even it out, looks like they want to make a play.
MP, deadly catch, bursting Ogwin down. Boxy just zoning Super Marco so that no one can really help him. And it's actually a Queen's Wings rush here for Flapteezy. I think that's his second item. Very quick, Soul goes back up top. Flapteezy is actually taking a whole lot of damage here. Soul might be looking for another solo kill, but Flapteezy is still a bit too tanky here. It's a Queen's Wings first item, not even War Axe.
Yeah, not even War Axe. Just wants that sustainability. I guess it works well with the Body of Smith passive, you know, for Trizla. And then, like we mentioned earlier, he has Brave Smite. So this looks like it's going to be a tier 1 down here for FCAP as they get that first turret of the game down on their side. They traded across map, what we saw See You Soon do earlier. So now at this point, you see a transition here. And I guess we got our answer earlier too. The Bulwark is not going to go ahead and shoot the Deadliest Catch back to them, but
that's a no-no.
That's a no-no. And at this point too, for Falcons apbren, you know, controlling with a little bit of a lead, it's more so where do we find our pick-off potential? And that's usually on the whims of Flap right now. If he's got Flicker available, you can see the gold difference too fall into place here, of course. The biggest one, I mean, relatively even. Nothing too crazy, actually, between lane to lane here.
Boxy's taking a bit of damage now. Flapteezy again. This is why he goes Queen's Wings. He doesn't even need damage. Felix gets zoned away just by his Zaman Force, forced to use the Black Dragon from Boxy, pops in. The Primal Wrath, but gets deleted. Penalty zone by Flap. Mlbb the King forces to use the deadly catch, now chase down as the RWM comes down. Felix jumps in back again with the Purify. Petrify, finding 3, but the Purify is right there. Now Ra gonna be caught in the Numenal Blast and the Shadow Kill, but he's still able to flicker out back to safety as Few just continues to walk them down. Not here, sir.
You're gonna walk
there
to your
go.
base.
Yeah, getting walked down to the other side of the map as they pick up a free neutral objective.
You will not recall here. You're gonna have to walk. And actually, so Mlbb the King goes back up. That's turtle secured here now for Falcons AP. Bren, looks like they're gonna start on this turret too. Boxy jumps in.
Kyle, that's a quad shadow. He has one more. The intrusive thoughts definitely getting to him there, but hey, he's able to make the right decision. Don't go in aggressive. They can just go for the purple buff, and they'll take it away. Now in the mid lane, still with the siege. Boxy's forced to use the Primal Wrath, and even Deadflap just jumps in under the turret, straight into Cal with the quad shadow. Boxy losing his life, the shadow kill. He was so much damage just to zone them in the back line as Super Marco pops the Zaman Force to take the tier 1 down.
They're doing so. Falcons AP Bren is doing such a good job at forcing that Primal's Wrath to be utilized or used first by Boxy, and then they follow through. Because again, when you look at the lineup, man, and the items that are falling into place for Falcons AP Bren, their power in team fighting is really showing the way they layer things on top of each other. The ultimates and even some of the skills. Super Marco, like we saw from Innocent yesterday, man, being very aggressive and upfront with this Harith pick. He's only died once in that exchange in the 1v1 against Soul earlier on, so I feel like now, as you get towards, you know, the next objective is this Lord, CSUN has to be ready to unleash Soul. Earlier, we saw Ra take the real-world manipulation. You know, the game, the Land of Dawn basically looked like a board game at that point, but that's something they can work around with. You have Ra with the real-world manipulation, you have a Deadliest Catch, you kind of have to hope that, all right, we get Falcons AP Bren to use some of the ultimates that they have, withstand the Shadow Kill from Kyle TZ, and then possibly be able to re-engage. That's, again, going back to the reference of it's a whole lot of boxes that CSUN has to box off here, check off here.
It's really tough now, I feel, for CSUN, right? Because really the proactivity is all on Falcons AP Bren, and they've been able to utilize it so well. Invading the jungles constantly, even for MP, and with a pick like the Bane. You don't really need that much farm, you're still good anyways, but when the Hayabusa is 2 levels ahead,
2 levels.
now down to just 1, but when he's also 1,000 gold ahead on the Assassin, it gets really tough for you. He only has a War Axe, the Endless Battle. Like LaFell said, you know, he usually goes for the Thunderbell, but because maybe in the early game he needs a little bit more damage because the team is kind of lacking damage, he's forced to go for the Endless Battle, and even then you can see the poke from Few, from Flap, onto Boxy even more with the new glowing wand, man. It's just burning him down.
And that's what I'm saying. It's just, we're going to force you to use that Primal Wrath early on so you don't have it for the fight. And they just completely cut off CSUN. And look at this. The bulwark that Flap TZ is alone on this Terizla, able to just kind of stand there and look down the eyes of CSUN and trying to bait them into initiating, and they don't. So the Lord is already taken freely, and big power spikes coming in. A Holy Crystal for Super Marco, a BOD for Kyle TZ. These are very big items picked up that already increase the power for Falcon AP Bren when they've been pretty dominant the last 3-4 minutes or so. So they're now going to work on the tier 2 here. Mlbb the King makes his way, but they're just shoved out again, being poked down simply by Few even.
I think if it wasn't for Ra terrifying Flap, that would have been a force by Falcons AP Bren. Maybe they would have been able to force out all of the flickers, maybe the Black Dragon form as well defensively. So good job for Ra. He was able to disengage from that skirmish that Falcons AP Bren almost pushed on them, but the fact that they were able to take the Holy Defense down in the bottom lane without the Lord, and now they have another wave coming down, they're going to be able to bait out the Holy Defense from the mid lane too. And the second wave is coming down in the mid lane, so they might be able to do what they did in game number 1, Black Dragon form. Now by Felix, but he's gonna get gunned down from the sky, so taken out right as he drops down. Boxy pops in Primal Wrath, penalty zone Flap, catches them under the real world manipulation. Soul gets a double, but Few does it as well, and it's Flap on top of it. It's Soul, the Soul member of See You Soon, up against 3, the flicker forward. Soul absolutely obliterated, this time 11 minutes for Falcons AP Bren.
It looked like it would take a little bit longer, but Falcons AP Bren essentially finishes the game at the same amount of time. if Falcons apbren wants to do what they've done the previous 2 games by ending it in 11.5 minutes, they could do it with this lineup as well. As we jump into the land of dawn, it's match point here in this best of 5 between Falcons apbren and See You Soon. And also, yeah, we thought that maybe, you know, MP the King would go ahead and get his hands on the Ling, but it's taken for Kyle Teasy here.
Yeah, the fact that they also kind of they were forced to put the Roger in the jungle, right? Because they needed MP to go for these carry picks as well. He needs to be the one dealing damage in the mid lane. Ra's doing a good job, and this is what the Cho provides for See You Soon. Outside of the, you know, obviously pick-off heavy playstyle that See You Soon strives with, it's also the mid-prio that we've been talking a whole lot about. In the early game, I think it's very important for a team like See You Soon, a team that has been very, very aggressive, wants to go for ganks, wants to get the fast pace to get the early game mid-prio. But other than that, though, the fact that MP was forced into the jungle on the Roger just made it so easy for Ogwen to go and lock in that Tigreal. Because now it's going to be an easy pick, and for Soul even, I like that it's not a carry. Don't get me wrong here. But also, when is he going to be online? Like, Falcons apbren, they have a very fast-paced early game composition too. And if they get a lead with the first 2 turtles, I don't think we're going to get those full items on Natan. Not even a power spike. Maybe.
Yeah. Natan needs a while, man. You know, and that's the thing. Like, if you're basing off the previous 2 games, 11.5 minutes or so around that ballpark, you really got to hope that See You Soon extends this game further and hopefully...
See? This is what I was talking about. Soul up top on the Natan. Right on cue. How is he going to survive the kill pressure of a Harith plus a Ling? I mean, the Harith alone is just ridiculous. That's an auto-winning lane even against the carry. Now against the Natan.
Yep, and you know, it's crazy because yesterday we saw, and Wolf talked about this pretty extensively. I think he called it the Natan like bomb move, where he was able to just burst members down. But usually that was the 18+ minute mark. Exchange here in the bottom.
Penalty zone onto Felix. He has the vengeance, goes in for it. Flicker is out. Flapteasy out of Boxy, the King's range. He was definitely looking for that Way the Dragon, but it's a good neutral objective pick. At least for See You Soon, right? They're utilizing Falcons apbren's maneuvers up top to get more prio in towards the other side of the map. Boxy not able to go for the Way the Dragon. No one there to follow up.
Yeah, no one there. And, you know, going back to it, I think that's the thing. See You Soon, they can lock down some of the objectives and kind of withstand the assault that's going to come from Falcons apbren early on. That's great for them. Because really, that's the play, especially when you have a Ling across from you. I mean, MP the King knows this very well. He knows how to go ahead and counterplay into this. And since, you know, because Kyle Teasy, the way he's going to be moving around, putting pressure with a Harith like we talked about, See You Soon's got to rely on pickoffs. Pickoff potential that they have with Boxy the King. On the Cho here, okay, already forcing out Sorry on Felix. And part of that, too, is utilizing this Angela. The Angela and Roger can actually still be pretty devastating. You know, it can actually work really well together. I still am going to stand by the fact that I think, you know, I'd rather see the Angela in the roam, but because of the case that this is Boxy, it's better that he does play the Cho. It's a pick-off potential hero, and you can hopefully turn the tide here. Again, Boxy has been with See You Soon since the beginning. You know, he's a mainstay here. A lot of these guys have. Oh, Sorry, Felix.
Final Flash Flicker. Ogwen just flickers out. Boxy.
Okay.
You really didn't have to say his name.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
I was
going to curse Naisu. You've been here for a long time too. You should know.
Mirka, it's
not
weird.
to do that, bro.
As soon as earlier I was talking about Soul.
Exactly.
You know, saying that now Boxley. All right. Well, you know, that's the Thunderbelt picked up first for Sorry on Felix, like we saw Flap do in game 1. So maybe this will help. Again, it's also up to him using the final slashes and initiating some of these team fights once that flicker's available. But right now it just seems pretty kind of nothing's going to happen too crazy at Boxy, though.
Way the Dragon. Shunpo. Good Shunpo out of the
But now he doesn't have it.
But yeah, he doesn't have the Way the Dragon. Doesn't have the Shunpo. But he will be able to zone Few away. In the backline, gets terrified. No Eternal Guard, but the Explosion catches 2! That's the Eternal Guard and the penalty zone. MP the King forced back, trying to go for the Retribution. At least he can get that. No, Kyle takes it away from him. MP will be forced to run away back to his own jungle.
Oh man, again, great utilization of Falcons apbren, taking information that, all right, Boxy used the flicker earlier, tried to get something to set off, and then they punish him. And I mean, look at the lane alone that's happening in the gold lane, right? Super Marco is just pushing as much as he can, putting pressure there. It leaves Soul like, all right, I gotta rotate here in the mid lane.
Boxy getting a good kick onto Fuse, straight into Soul's damage, and Ra, he's the one who picks up the kill. It's probably the worst member to give the kill over to. Now it's going to be Kaltizi who walks up forward, just relieving some of the pressure as Super Marco shoves up a full wave up top.
All right, taking a look at the items real quick here. Berserker's Fury already there for Kaltizi, and then working on the next. War Axe 2 here for Flap, and on the other side, like I said, Thunderbelt's already locked in there. It's good that Ra has the Flask of the Oasis, helps a little bit more sustain through some of the initiations that's going to happen from Falcons AP Bren. I think main point, though, is yes, Boxy, his work is cut out from this game, because again, what's at stake here? Match point, your key as well. You don't want to see that get crushed this early on, so they have to kind of rely on everything falling into place with the lineup that they brought. And Angela so far has done great things for teams that have drafted her. But yeah, okay, MP the King's going to hold on to that purple buff at least. So still, you know, it's up to the whims of Boxy.
Good terrifying. Now the Waves Dragon locking Ogwin down, but that's going to be an Eternal Guard into the Implosion and a penalty zone too. The combo now as Felix jumps with Vengeance and the final slash. The turnaround. Soul is free, hitting together with MP the King. And they're going to be able to finally find a favorable trade. But then, right as I say that, they get turrets on the bottom lane. Marco's cutting up top, so he should be able to get another 2.
That's a thing that they always do, right? There's a great team fight there for See You Soon, but they also lose something. With Falcons AP Bren and a team like this, you're not always just going to come out unscathed. You're eventually going to lose something. It's kind of a give and take with them. And so with that, See You Soon able to get a couple wins there. Again, that was the power of the Angela as well. Good item pickups here. Boxy once again looking for his own setup with the Way of the Dragon. Turtle's going to start up. Starlium Scythe now also locked in for Soul.
Final slash on the Flap TZ. Oka with a shove back in the back line. Now Boxy finding the Way of the Dragon, but no one's there to follow it up. The Implosion finds 3, and it's going to be traded back now. Soul is able to get the entropy back towards safety. But again, for Falcons AP Bren, they have found the favorable trade. That's 2 for 1 and a neutral objective. Just so clinical.
Yeah. And that's Flap's job, honestly. Like, anytime you have the Trizla, you know that you're innately tanky. You have Body of Smith, and he has the Brave Smite emblem as well. He's got the War Axe, like we mentioned. Fight for the purple, and it's taken. Oh, Kyle.
Oh, Kyle. Now just flying past people. 1,000 gold ahead already. Boxy's looking for a pick, but even then, right, he's really going to have to calculate a whole lot. If he goes on to Super Marco, there's a Purify. It's a bit tough to go on Few because he's always just next to Ogwin, and he can just try to look for an Implosion. Marco again dodging away from the final slash, just with a little bit of a sidestep there. Pops into Zaman Force 2 and now clears up the wave.
Super Marco uses his Summon Force just, you know, anytime nearly
every time it's up.
He's just utilizing it to farm, to put pressure on these objectives, these turrets. And again, Boxy,
penalty zone straight into Soul. The entropy gets him up, but Kyle's finishes him off under the tier 2. Ogwin! Implosion onto 3, finding them all. The final slash gets them with a disengage, but now Felix is all alone, right with MP the King, who goes in forward to take Fish and takes him out. It looked good for a second, but then you remember it's Falcons AP Bren.
Oh, we're going to take a look at the STC replay here. Again, a great setup from Flap TZ under the turret, and then look for Ogwin as well.
Masterful.
What an implosion. Brings him back to the team. Still, again, the sustain coming out from this lineup with the Angela is great from See You Soon, but still, Super Marco jumps in again as soon as that he sees that opening with his Almond Force. You can see Flap here, of course, feeling pretty good about that. And, you know, that's the thing. It's the trading of ultimates that happens here for Falcons AP Bren, where, you know, one will initiate sometimes, most of the time it's Flap, and then Ogwin follows up. And the rest of the team, I mean, we're not even talking about the Eternal Guard. That knock-up that comes from that also plays a part in this whole game plan here. So already just, there's the endless battle now for Kaltiz. He's got 3 items locked in already on this Ling. Very strong, 1,000 gold ahead of MP the King here. Now that Lord's up, though, this is the thing for See You Soon. They have to watch out for the initiation, just like we saw previously. Falcons AP Bren will go ahead and get set up here. Conceal going to be used just to possibly make a play on Soul. They get spotted out, though. So they're forcing them back. At least they get sights on these members from See You Soon. They're going to have to keep Ra there, kind of keeping the waves under control, though. And now this might be some form of a semblance of an actual Lord dance. The Holy Crystal is also picked up here for Super Marco. No team, though, want to commit to the Lord just yet, waiting for the waves to be managed here. Msc, can he make a play? He's been doing it time and time again so far. No flicker available for Sorry on Felix. So Lord's going to get pulled out. Msc has the information. He's going to get spotted out now. There he is.
Terrified, shoved back and deleted. Msc, Gwen flickers forward, unable to find that. Now Felix with the final slash, going to be displaced right now as the penalty zone locks him back in the back line. Super Marco, Zaman Force, Felix going to be dealt with by Calteezy and Ogwen. And again, it's Falcons apbren who utilize the chaos in their favor.
How? Again, with See You Soon, they lose 2 members plus the objective in the exchange for Falcons apbren, and now in a position where they're going to be marching in with this Lord here, getting themselves 3,000-4,000 gold ahead. See You Soon on the defense, looking at the items. You're still looking for that Holy Crystal for Soul. You know, he's been trying to farm as much as he could, but he's just behind right now, especially against Super Marco. We'll see if he's able to lock it in, and once that Holy Crystal does come online, will he be able to help with the defense here as they try to hold on to this tier 2 in the mid? But lanes pushing in, Lord on the top side. See You Soon's going to find themselves for a defense for possibly their lives here at the mid-season cup. Their lives and their key as well against Falcons apbren, as now they approach the base here. Lord still working on those minions top side, looking to pop these shields.
They already got one Holy Defense in the mid lane. Baited out. Still have a couple of waves crashing down into the base. Bottom lane dealing with the Holy Defense again as MP the King gets thrown there. Ogwen has the Concealed Soul, finds the Holy Crystal. That's actually pretty good timing. Boxy goes to the back line, finding Few with a way to drag him, but in the back line is going to be Ogwen who gets deleted as well. Now Soul engaged upon Calteezy on the top of the blades as that Boxy getting deleted. Kyle will lose his life, and it's a good defense from See You Soon. Now chasing Super Marco down. He doesn't have the Zaman Force anymore, trying to run away as MP continues to chase with a Lycan form. Go with Lycan Pounce, right into the shutdown. MP the King with the chase again. Now with a Lycan form, looking for the Pounce. Few gonna be taken down now by Ra. It's a wipeout for See You Soon.
See You Soon with their backs against the wall with a lead from Falcons apbren will extend further into the game, and MP the King now feeling it after that wipeout. Falcons apbren, it looks like, you know, maybe they were a little too overzealous pushing that one in. That was a mistake on their part, and a great play from See You Soon, finally able to stay in this game, and that might be enough now. Again, when we talk about the lineup they have to buy the time for Soul here on this Natan. MP the King, though, also just pretty much online, evens things out really well against Calteezy. So now this kind of checks Falcons apbren, you know? And as we take a look at the items here, look at that already locked in. He's got that Feather of Heaven, he's got the Starlium Scythe, the Holy Crystal, and he's working on the next here. Could possibly also for some more penetration with the Divine Glaive if he goes that route. But hey, I think Falcons apbren, they're like, all right, we gotta be careful on the next push there. And this also pushed See You Soon in a good position for the next Lord.
It really does, and I was actually really impressed, right? The fact that Soul was still able to get the Holy Crystal at, I would say, a normal time. The fact that he got the Holy Crystal there before the defense started, before the full fight started, and now he already has the Blood Wings. So really, really fast items for Soul despite the early shutdown by Falcons apbren up top by Calteezy as well.
Okay. Lord once again, and this is like, you know, the new version of the Lord dance that we're seeing a lot of these teams kind of go about. We'll start it up. Boxy, though.
Good terrified final slash 3-man. Ogwen finds the implosion right now. That's hitting Soul free, hitting in the back line, but Kyle finds the top of the blades, knocks Soul up, finds a double. Now it's going to be Felix dealt with. Kyle's looking for the triple kill, and he will not be able to find it. Felix able to use the vengeance one more time, and the good lockdown as MP the King also takes him out of the back. That's a triple kill now locked in by Calteezy, but MP is hungry for more. Few getting ran down by MP. MP the King, now MP the Lycan as he scratches Few down. It's a triple kill for MP.
Oh man, MP the King. We're gonna take a look at the SCC replay again. Initiation started here, and look at the layering from Falcons apbren. Calteezy will find Soul, and that's a huge part, but they don't have an answer for the healing and sustainability coming out with Ra and MP the King. literally taking this series and saying, you know, we're going to put this on our shoulders and go through it. Can they continue to do that? Kyle, though, is he going to be able to seal this?
He has a way to Dragon. He will be able to find it. Kaltizi locked down. MP with the Lord. Tempest plays the Great Escape. Soul takes him out with the entropy forward.
The shifts have shifted, as now See You Soon is now in the driver's seat for this game with this Lord coming up here. Again, looking at the items, Ra also picking up the Holy Crystal. He already had the fleeting time. And this is difficult now for Falcons AP Bren. A Malefic Roar going to be locked in for Kaltizi here. And once again, it's more so the fact of Falcons AP Bren being like, all right, we got to respect this timing, this power spike of this lineup. Divine Glaive also locked in for Soul. This is the moments where you see these Natans really pop off. Lord going to go ahead and charge in. And now See You Soon, first time of the series, going to be approaching the base.
Look at the entropy now by Soul, taking the turret down in the bottom lane, all alone, dealing so much damage. Boxy finding Few with Way of the Dragon right into the final slash, and Few will just be taken out by Soul. Boxy losing immortality, Super Marco getting rid of him now as he jumps into his Zaman Force. Felix Vengeance not able to find more just yet, but the hard guard is on him. Ogwin finds a big implosion straight into the penalty zone, now bringing MP the King back into Kaltizi. Time for the blade, Soul not able to survive. Again, Falcons AP Bren find the play. It's a good synchro vision to cancel out the final slash. Felix with the flicker out, but Marco finds the triple. Falcons AP Bren have wiped See You Soon out.
And with that wipeout, they're just gonna run it down mid. A couple seconds here left for Boxy, but I'm not sure if he's gonna have enough time.
All alone on the Cho with signature pick. Falcons AP Bren looking for the end. Boxy the King gonna be knocked up now with the Zaman Force 2. See You Soon were made to be stronger, but they are up against the strongest.
And the Falcons will decisively ground the Owls. The reigning champions of the world will defeat the one who once conquered the Sky Kings, and will be sending them out